Hello and welcome. Today we are in the Tier 10 US aircraft carrier, the Midway. We're playing a match on the map Shatter. It is obviously a Tier 10 battle. There are some Tier 8 ships though. And I started out with my rocket planes, which are Tiny Tims. I think Tiny Tims are the better rocket planes to pick, although I haven't played the Midway, I think, much with this kind of a layout, with the rocket planes. You see, this was changed in a few patches ago, I believe, and so the drop circle is slightly different. You have to play it slightly different, but the reason I like Tiny Tims is because they have 68mm of penetration, so basically they're like mini dive bombers. These rocket planes have more penetration than the dive or level bombers, I suppose, on the what's her face, the Audacious. And right now I'm actually taking refuge from the Audacious. You see, I've been playing the Audacious a little bit, trying to get my win for the event, and I'm just not succeeding. Right now I'm just trying to see if maybe the problem is me instead of the ship, but I don't know. Considering I did 11k with my starting run on the enemy cruiser, I'm not seeing it, considering that would have probably done less damage as I was if I were the Audacious, even though the Buffalo is actually one of the better targets for an Audacious, because Audacious rocket planes have 28mm of penetration. Yeah, they can't even pen the 30mm on quite a few cruisers. Anyway, enough of that. The Midway also sports a whole bunch of torpedo bombers. She actually drops 6 torpedoes into the water, much more than the other ones. And she has amazing HE dive bombers. And when I say amazing there, I truly do mean it. You know, you've seen those 20k or 25k drops from stuff like Hakuryus and Richthofens? Well, the Midway can do 20k, but they're HE dive bombers. Which means that you can then start a fire on top of that. And to make matters worse, you know, you're never gonna overpen with them, right? So, yeah, they're pretty amazing. You'll probably see them later, because I'm doing live commentary. I'm playing as I'm commentating this game, so I can't actually know, because I haven't, seen the match yet. Usually I actually know what happens in the match, but this time I don't know anything. Also, I've been making a mistake. I have been neglecting giving vision to my teammates. Anyway, the problem with these torpedo bombers is that they're fairly slow, and you have to line your drop up very, very, very well. Otherwise, you're very likely to just hit maybe 2 of the torps. And they don't deal that much damage. I mean, 5,000, it's okay, but it's not great. So the reason the torps are good though is because you drop 6 of them. However, of course, it makes it fairly easy to avoid these when you do stuff like what this Moskva is doing. But considering there are many ships over there, there's a good chance something else might take it, or at least it'll make the enemy have to turn away a little bit, which is something useful on its own. Hey, we hit the Moskva, but only with 1, sadly. That's too bad. I was hoping for at least 2 hits, but if the ships can simply just turn away, that is what it is. I think it might be a good idea to head over to the A side in a little bit, though. Because there's only 3 ships there, there's a much bigger gaggle of ships here, and dropping a gaggle of ships is always an issue. I'm gonna drop a fighter here to give vision for my teammates, and then head over to the other side of the map. Ooh, there's a Montana. Maybe a battleship would be a better target, even. Anyways, but I've already decided and the approach angle would be kind of poor for a drop on the Montana. Oh, what? What is that smoke screen? That's a Minotaur. I guess we do wish to avoid that one. It is a fairly scary thing, so perhaps we'll go after the Montana after all. Because I would have to try to, try to find a way around the Minotaur's flak bubble, which is pretty huge. I think Minotaur's anti-range is like 6.9, which means that we're dealing with a circle that's like 150 kilometers in surface area. Okay, we have to drop early, because sadly the drop didn't properly converge in time. I'm kind of unused to the Midway planes. Oh, come on, only 1 drop this time? I guess the Montana did turn in on those. Oh well, we'll do a follow-up with the dive bombers. This should have a lot more success, because you can, aim them more later on. Should probably start reversing my CV though, because I did move forward to be slightly closer to the enemy. I mean, I don't lose anything for it, because unlike the Audacious, the Midway actually has armor. Hello, Montana. It's too bad you sailed exactly into that position to avoid the torpedoes earlier, right? Well, now this makes the dive bombing run slightly easier. Although I'm not going to do a follow-up. Hello, 12k damage. Let's start pulling back the ship and do a follow-up with more dive bombers, because we started the fire. She has not actually damage-conned. I was hoping she would, but it's fine. The 12k alpha damage is already enough to do another run anyway. So, match-wise, we're not actually doing that great, to be honest. And we don't have any cap zones. It's understandable why, but it is still unfortunate. Because the enemy does have one, so they are going to get slightly ahead on points over there. Oh, this Montana is actually going to be pushing. That's pretty good for us. She did use damage control party probably here. Although maybe she didn't. Regardless though, we're gonna just do another follow-up, because she is pushing, so it's the perfect target to drop over and over and over again. Especially since she is heading in our direction. Actually, I think she might just go down right now to the torpedoes by the Akizuki. Well done, Akizuki, well done. As a follow-up, I guess I'll go after the Buffalo then, since I'm already here anyway. Should probably start moving my CV actively away in a straight line rather than going forwards away rather than reversing away. Let's see how effective these dive bombers are against the cruiser. $11k damage. Wait, why is my CV not moving? But 11k damage. I mean, yeah. There's a good chance we wouldn't have, or we would have done about the same damage with our AP dive bombers on any of the tier 10 CVs. And here we even started the fire. So yeah, I think the Midway's AP bombers, or dive bombers, are actually incredibly good. People don't give them enough credit, I think. Let's see, how does the Buffalo move? I think the Akizuki is making a mistake by pushing out there. But I think combined with us two here, maybe it's okay. I think Buffalo might have headed in that direction, in which case this is going to be a very difficult drop, if even at all possible. Where is she? Buffalo? Oh, she's over there. Yeah, I have to head there then. It is a not very maneuverable ship after all, the Buffalo that is. They don't want to take crazy risks with her. God, that Minotaur is still there! Nothing has been able to move her. Oh! Buffalo is reversing! This is perfection for me. Because now it means that she can't actually avoid these torpedoes. Although I suspect her reversing, she's just gonna continue, and that'll help her avoid a lot of those, but... Wait, what is my... Oh, right, I overturned. Whoops! I thought autopilot was playing tricks on me, but no. Also, I had 4 of them, which did almost 12k damage. Somehow, Akizuki still managed to take the kill, though. Anyway, we're gonna go after this Aerroon, because she is a singular target. My angle of attack isn't correct, though. Oh! A Kakero! Okay. I wasn't even looking for her, but somehow I accidentally found her. Wow, that actually made my CV unspotted. That was a complete accident. I wasn't paying enough attention to it. I think it's because I'm doing the commentary, and so it's kind of hard to pay attention as much as you do normally. You know, speaking and playing at the same time is difficult. And I'm not actually joking. If you've never done it, try it. Not a great drop, but we started a fire and there was a fire earlier, so that is gonna be a permafire. Let's do a dive bomber follow-up, because it seemed to work so well against the Aerroon. Although, I guess the Kagero's out of the smoke, so we might as well try it on the Kagero. Come out, wherever you are. She's about here, I think, most likely. Yep, there she is. I'm gonna have to turn around, though, because we need a slightly better approach angle. She turned her anti-air off, which makes sense against planes that aren't as maneuverable as Midway's, because it makes it difficult to line up a drop, but Midway usually doesn't care about this. Oh, she's slowing down. This is actually incredibly smart. And yeah, I think she might actually never... Never mind. that I'll be honest, that was pure RNG. RNG just gave me that one. That wasn't intended. That's not what you usually get with the drop on that. Usually you get something more like this. Yeah, something like this is more expected. Anyway, the reason I wish to dissuade this Kagero from sailing towards me, so that I go unspotted. Oh, Kagero, this isn't looking good if RNG is not on your side. Oh, RNG was on your side. I guess that's fine then. But now let's use rocket planes, which actually are kind of difficult to use against destroyers nowadays as well, because you have to get their side, otherwise they deal not that much damage. And considering the Tiny Tims don't have that many rockets fired per salvo, it might very well end up with me dealing little damage to her. But it will most likely make her not try to follow me and keep me spotted for that rune. And the other thing is that if she doesn't actually follow me, she is in trouble in the sense that she isn't doing anything. Wait, where is she? Oh, dang it! I guess we'll do the drop on the rune then, because they are combining their anti-airs here. And I guess we'll do a follow-up, because she definitely damage control partied that one, since it started 2 fires. But notice that my CV is actually now unspotted. That's because I made the Kagero turn around. Oh, no fires here. Okay. But because I am unspotted, the Kagero isn't doing anything, right? Nothing is in engagement range for the Kagero right now. So she has effectively been neutralized from doing anything, simply by me accidentally spotting her and then dropping her a few times. Like before, at least, she was spotting my ship so that the enemies could shoot me, but now they don't even have that. Think I might go after the middle portions of the enemies though. I suspect an Azuma and the Petropavlovsk can handle a rune and a Kagero. And it might be better use of my planes to try to dissuade the Moskva from DB cap. Let's do some aggressive negotiations now. Although, you know, this might not work out too well. What's the penetration on these actually? 67mm, so actually 1mm less than the rocket planes. Oh god, what is this flak here? Luckily, the slowing down thing still works against flak rather successfully. And that's a whole bunch of damage. I don't know if I can turn around and go in again. Moskva is a bit of a bad target for that stuff, because she has incredibly long range anti-air. Not as long as Minotaur, I believe it's like 6.6. So you have to fly really far away to get outside of the flak range to start turning around. Oh, never mind, Moskva's dead! So follow up on the Friedrich der Grosse then. Although it's only gonna be 2 bombers, but man, these feel incredibly maneuverable. What is this? Wow, only 1 bomb hit and it still started the fire. I'm gonna turn around my ship and start heading closer. And I'll use dive bombers again to start another fire on the Friedrich der Grosse. Spot DD, why? What does it matter? It's a Kagero. Why? Just keep away from the torps and you'll be okay. It's not like the Kagero is, you know, trying to cap or anything like that. Just ignore her. Because effectively, when you're running away from a Kagero, she can't do anything. She has effectively been neutered. And so you have 1 less or 1 fewer ship to fight. I'll drop a fighter over here though, because there's a good chance that the rune might actually get out of spotting. Damn, the angle is bad for the attack here. I'm gonna pull back for a little bit. And then try to go in again. it's not that bad to actually maneuver in the long-range anti-air of battleships. Because usually many ships don't have that great long-range anti-air. Oh god, what is this? My planes are being shut down. Well, there's the fire, and now the enemies are heading away from us. So let's use rocket planes to follow up. Fire is still taking, but I think the Friedrich Gross is gonna survive because she has a heal going on. Confederate. I guess I should go for the B cap now, since the Kagero is heading into it. And you know, we actually do need to defend it. Do I drop a fighter? Yeah, we're gonna drop a fighter there. Just in case, maybe it'll make the Midway not do a second follow-up. But yeah, as long as we can keep 2 of the 3 caps. Oh, there's the Kagero, so we're gonna start the drop right now. Because I can't see her, right? But she has to be somewhere over here. Wait, what the hell? Oh my god, wow. That's some 200 IQ move by the Kagero. That is a genius maneuver right there. Well done. Like, really well done. Can I actually start the drop right here? Or will it just fly over the Kagero here? Okay, no, it'll be fine. That was an amazing idea by that Kagero. And I use this, I personally use that quite a lot, but not as much in destroyers, usually more in like cruisers and battleships. Because it makes it very difficult for the enemy to line up a drop when you're next to an island like that. She probably has moved further. Oh, there she is. But we'll probably only need a little bit of luck here. And yeah, there it is. Enemy destroyer sunk. And now it's time to go after the Aerroon. Or Ron. And then it's just the CV. I don't know what the Midway can do, because this Brindisi is a bit too healthy for her. Let's drop a fighter. This means that when Midway actually commits, she definitely loses the squadron. Okay, maybe not definitely, but most likely. Well, there it is. And now it's their final cruiser. She is healing. Which is good. Do you guys know why? Because it means I get to deal more damage to her. Oh, yes. Oh god, no, don't turn like that. Ron, you're supposed to cooperate. This is not what we agreed upon. No, Ron. You're not supposed to do that, okay? You were supposed to obediently sail in a straight line into the B-cap. And not try to dodge that, because when you do dodging like that, you actually make it easier for my allies to deal damage to you instead of me. And obviously that's a bad thing, because I should be the one getting the damage, not my allies. I mean, do they deserve it? Of course not. Because it's me, me, me. By the way, for those who don't know, the word for team in Estonian is team, written like so. And there's 2 I's in that, right? So you have to be double selfish. Did that CV really drop on me? I think that might have been the case. But I don't think I care, because I have 50k HP. So when we want to line up our drop to the side of the Midway instead of the deck. Because if we hit the deck, we don't deal any damage. We can only deal damage if we hit the sides. So only some of those are gonna deal. Yeah, 4k. Usually I want to use Torpedo Bombers as this ship. Although if you have stuff like Richthofens, etc., obviously those can deal a lot of damage into the sides. Anyway, 25 seconds, so there's really no chance that we can do anything. So let's have some fun, okay? Because my Torpedo Bombers obviously cannot make it over there. Hello, Brindisi. How are you? And there's the game. There would have been no chance that I could have actually dropped those on the Midway, right? So Might as well have a little bit of fun at the end there. Well, not the greatest game, but 150k damage is quite acceptable, I think. Especially since there weren't tier 10 battleships with enormous HP amounts to farm. And I mean, I still got my Confederate and defended some of my ships, etc. Although, I guess I'm not that high up in the team score, but let's be honest, right? These are all lower tier ships who get more XP because they're fighting, you know, either their tier ships or higher tier ships. Whereas I was mostly fighting lower tier ships because the only tier 10s are the Moskva, the Midway, the Minotaur, and, you know, you can see those at the bottom, but we didn't fight the Conqueror at all, I think, right? Because she was on the other side of the map. So that's probably why, but I'm really surprised by how many of my teammates got 2000 XP. I suspect it's because, you know, they're a pretty decent division apparently, so I'm gonna compliment all of them. Yeah, I really don't have many complaints about my team. I honestly normally would compliment even this Petropavlos, because cruisers tend to get better and better the longer they stay in the match, but considering just how low he is, I'm sorry Petro, I'm sorry. So, damage-wise, I guess here we can see who we hit, right? Tier 9, Tier 8, Tier 9, 10, 10, 9, and I suppose that's another 10. It was a successful game, and certainly it lifted my mood compared to my Audacious matches. So, I guess we can take a look at the commander skills and upgrades. One thing though, that I think I need to actually... Here we can see a loss in the Audacious. Very sad. Not really, but still. One thing that I have been thinking about on the Midway, maybe actually getting faster torpedo bombers would be helpful. Because... you see, when you drop torpedo bombers on an enemy, right? The arming on them depends on time. So it doesn't matter how it matters how much time it takes for the torpedoes to get to the enemy, but if you speed up the torpedoes, then you'll simply have to drop further away. However, that's the time it takes for them to arm, but anything beyond the arming distance does get better if your torpedoes on the planes are faster. And obviously, because you have to account for the fact that the enemy might turn in a little bit, you have to drop slightly further away. Or if the enemy is turning away, in that case, you know, you're also get some kind of a bonus from faster torpedoes. So what I've been thinking is that maybe instead of a build like this, I should try to work in torpedo acceleration into it somehow. I'm just not quite sure how to do it. Probably through dropping Concealment Expert. But, for example, in the match you just saw, right? I had 13.8 kilometer concealment. Imagine dropping Concealment Expert on top of that. That would mean that I would have gotten spotted from even further away. And I might have been, you know, in slightly more trouble because even the Aerroon would have been able to spot me there. So I'm not really sure. Maybe no sight stabilization is absolutely necessary considering how long it takes the torpedo bombers to, you know, aim up. And I really like having improved engine boost. So I'm not really sure. I'll have to think about it a little bit more on how to take it. But right now, in this match, I used Air Supremacy, improved engines, survivability expert, sorry, sight stabilization, aircraft armor, then concealment expert, improved engine boost, and then last gasp. So, yeah, that's what I've been thinking. So upgrades-wise, I have the legendary upgrade for the Midway. This increases the HE damage from the bombers. You know, it increases it only by 10%, but it also makes your bombers faster. Which is excellent because, you know, you get your target faster and you get to do more drops. Is it worth, you know, dropping flight control modification too? I am not quite sure. Probably, because these HE bombers are very universal. Right, because they are HE bombs, it means that armor doesn't matter. And because they also start fires, they're good against everything. You saw I did an 8k hit on a destroyer. They're obviously good against cruisers, as you saw, and they're obviously good against battleships. The only ship type that they're not good against are aircraft carriers, except Audacious, or lower tier CVs. But then again, you know, the other stuff wouldn't really matter there, and how often do you fight them anyway? Then, in the second slot, I have flight control modification. For, you know, more replacements. Then I use the bomber HP upgrade. If I didn't have this legendary and used flight control, I might go with torpedo bombers instead. because torpedo bombers have a heal, and increasing the HP also increases the heal, so it's like a synergistic effect. Then in the second slot, as usual, I use the aircraft attack time thing, mostly because I'm just used to it, but I think you don't necessarily need it. You could probably go for the aerial torpedo speed, which is something I would probably do if I went for torpedo acceleration. Then obviously aircraft engine modification, because engine boost is just amazing. And then air groups modification 1, so you can, do your drop again faster. Overall, I think the Midway is... I like this CV, and I don't understand why other people think that this CV isn't as great. The bombers just feel amazing, the rocket planes feel great, especially now that the rocket planes on the other CVs aren't that effective against destroyers. It feels okay. I suppose the torpedo bombers are really hard to use though, and in many cases against an enemy that is very able to avoid them, that's obviously a downside. I suspect it mostly comes down to the fact that these planes are simply slower, which means that you get to do fewer attacks. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.